Hey Tom, how are you today?
Hey, hey, I'm okay.
It's Ivan here from Arizona State University. Thank you for meeting again on your session today. Um, I see that you did the pre-appointment assessment before your appointment, and it seemed like your anxiety levels and your depression went a little up. What's going on? What happened since we last met?
Well, things didn't go exactly the way I thought they would go.
What happened?
I had, after our last session, I felt so good, and my parents have been so supportive of me. So I was anticipating that would keep happening. I was just hanging out with like some, occasionally we do stuff together, go to the park, go to movies. So I, I told them, hey, what I'm learning about myself, like guys now, or kind of dealing with that issue. It's something, it's something really harsh that I was just confused and selfish and asshole.
Yeah, I could imagine. Yeah,
I just wasn't expecting that, because I've known him all my life.
right.
We're like this. At least, I think we were.
Yeah. And I could just imagine, like, the courage, and that it took for you to do it, and how comfortable you felt, because he was a family member, and you thought since your parents were good with it, that he was gonna be very accepting as well. So I could just
Yeah.
imagine, yeah.
Why would it be different? You know?
And I'm sorry that you were met with rejection. It's not something that, very. I can imagine how it's affecting you right now,
Yeah.
especially when it came from someone that you love, a close person, to you, Yeah.
Just really disappointing.
And but I applaud you for sharing something vulnerable like this, and instead of, holding it in, so it's a great step, for you. Um, and I can totally understand, why you feel shaken, and I can understand why your anxiety levels are very high. But
Well,
yeah.
about that, and the thing that the thing I'm concerned about is if that can happen with my cousin, who I've known all of my life, what's going to happen if I tell my daughter? That would be, I mean, it's one thing to, to have something happen in the relationship with a cousin. It's not, we're buddies, but it's not like he's my flesh and blood daughter. That would
Right.
be devastating. I don't want that to happen. No, no.
Right. But your parents, you gotta think of your parents who are someone I would assume are closer, your parents, someone that, you see every day and everything. You grew up with, and them accepting it. Don't you think their accepting us is more important? I know your cousin is important as well, but what would you think of, like, how do I say this? Being rather to have your parents being accepting than your cousin, basically. Wouldn't you just take that more consideration? Like, my parents are accepting, maybe my cousin, and I had
Oh
to
yeah.
respect that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. My relationship with my parents is more important than my relationship with my cousin.
And maybe he'll come along later on, maybe he needs some time, potentially, like.
If he does, I'm going to need more time to recover from his comment.
But Tom, I really want you to take this moment as just part of your journey of becoming more fully yourself, and that your feelings are the matter, and that they're valid, and for you to feel like this way right now, they're valid, but I want you to also consider your future, as well, and you accepting yourself and stuff like that. So, and not let that stop you from being yourself, basically, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I don't want to like. I don't want to focus too much more on one rejection when I have all these when I have a bunch of acceptances.
Yeah, but I just wanted to make sure that you're not alone in this space. Let's take some time to like push away for what's coming up for you. You know, I know you mentioned that you have been having trouble sleeping as well and a lot of anxiety. Um, have you had any thoughts of feeling worthless or any thoughts about, hurting yourself or anything like that? I know there's some personal questions, but since you're having those anxieties and having trouble sleeping, I just wanted to
Yeah,
ask you just to make sure that you're okay?
thank you. No,
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about hurting myself. The only thing that's keeping me up at night is imagining what would happen if I told my daughter and she rejected me too.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah. Have you ever had any other times before this rejection, especially around your identity or faith or anything that you can recall back in the days? And how did you handle that rejection?
Well, yeah, there was like a time when I was just started dating when I was 15. My family didn't really like the girl I was seeing,
Mm-hmm.
and they didn't say it outright, but they were pretty cold to her and made her feel like she wasn't welcomed. And so that hurt me as much as it did her. And so there was that time.
Any things that you use for to help you with that rejection? And like
Yeah,
maybe, yeah,
I told them that, I was going to give them the middle finger for Christmas instead of a gift.
yeah,
Then they burst out laughing. 'cause- And then you know, they were honest about what their judgments were, what their prejudices were basically against this woman.
right.
And we just talked about it, and eventually they said, "Well, if she's good enough for you, I think we can accept her too."
Yeah. And maybe we could kind of in a different way, maybe you could use that same way that you use that rejection with, your cousin, for example, where you're going through right now, like kind of finding a way, like, yeah, go ahead.
It's a really good idea. I'm just gonna find my cousin and give him the middle finger.
Not the middle finger, but like kind of moving forward in a sense. Saying like, well, maybe he needs some time, but that's not gonna stop my life, let me
You
move to
say,
you.
"You
Yeah.
have 1 minute."
Yeah, yes. But kind of finding a way, because you move on from that rejection that you just spoke of, like, and everything went great after that. So maybe trying to find a similar way to also see it that way when it comes to your
Yeah,
cousin,
I mean, I could, we'll see. I don't know. I just wasn't expecting it. So,
right? But like I said, like us moving forward,
I could, yeah, I mean, I know what his problem is, and he's got like hyper conservative parents,
yeah,
and so he's just prejudiced in the same way from them. Like my parents were prejudiced against this white girl I was seeing. They didn't think she was good enough for me at first, but I said I love her, so that's got to be enough.
right, yeah,
So maybe we'll see. I don't know.
yeah,
Right now, right now, I'm more concerned about my daughter,
yes.
more than my cousin.
Yeah, and like I know for our next section, I want to make sure that we focus on that to kind of explore how to talk with your daughter. Obviously when you're ready. But I do want us to kind of explore on how we want that to be and when that was gonna happen. Um, I know that we also spoke about kind of giving you some resource. I did find some resources for you for LGBTQ plus community, advocacies. And I
Yeah,
actually found a group that is actually also very spiritual faith. I know that you're devoted to your religion. So I wanted to make sure to find you like a group that maybe you could, fit in that had the same faith and spiritual and religious and but they're also considered from the LGBTQ plus community. Is that something you will
yeah,
be interested?
I'll take it. I'll
Yeah.
take it.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Why not? I mean,
Yeah. And they're
yeah,
located by your area. Maybe you could create some new friends, and that will help you also to overcome some of that rejection that you've been going and some anxiety, meeting people that might be sharing some same situations that you currently are going through. Does that sound like a plan?
yeah, that sounds good. Do they speak? Do any of them speak Spanish?
Yeah, it seems like it's a very diverse group. It has Hispanic, African American, so white. So you could probably meet different cultures and different people with different languages as well.
All
Yeah,
right.
yeah. So I could send this to your email, and then does it sound good for us to schedule our next session?
Yeah.
Okay, Tom. Is there anything else you want to bring up to me today, or
No, I'm good, man.
no? Okay. So I'll send you the email, and then I'll schedule your next session. Okay, Tom.
Sounds good. Thanks,
It's
man.
nice hearing from you. Okay. Thank you for logging in.
Bye.
Bye bye.